37 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast, a podcast where three brothers talk about what's happening in American and European soccer. My name is Dave Knittel. I am here with Christian and Matt, my two brothers. Christian, hello.
Hello.
Matthew, hello.
Hello.
I didn't get the white shirt memo. Matthew, fantastic little look away, look away, look away. Look, there you go. Looking good. We are prepared, guys. I am lit up like a goddamn Christmas tree. I got some new lighting I'm very excited about. And
you have one of those ring ones?
No, so I looked into the ring ones. I decided to get incredibly cheap ones on Amazon. So I have two lights here. Not exactly thrilled with them, but I have a pillowcase over top of them. So the lighting is a little bit softer. And so
you should have seen him before he put those pillowcases on. It was like he was haunting us.
Yes, I was exceptionally bright.
Are the pillowcases a fire hazard?
Yes, they absolutely are. So I'm keeping an eye on them and wouldn't be shocked if... as we are recording here, as we're recording, I gotta sprint away and go get the fire extinguisher. But it's the price we pay for podcasting, right, guys?
Why don't you just bring it? Why don't you just put it next to you before, so you don't have to run away?
Oh, good call. Well, I don't think.
Really...
Yeah, I didn't get that. The fire extinguisher is in the hallway. It's like emergency because we live in an apartment building. Okay, anyways, this is a soccer podcast. We thank you all for joining us live on YouTube, all millions of our viewers here that are joining us live. Thank you. Hello, welcome. Interact with us as we go along here. And if you're watching in the future, still leave a comment. We circle back on these things and I keep tabs and would love to interact with you. And guys, are we ready? Christian, I think you have our trivia question.
I do.
Matthew, you just are prepared?
Yeah, well, so I moved my router downstairs because I've been doing the Ethernet every time. So I bet I'm going to lag out for Dave's section as it used to happen. So we'll see. We'll see.
So we got that to look forward to, everyone. So we're excited about that. And we're back to our normal thing. So we're going to have breaks. We will have outtakes. And also this will be a very, very long episode for podcast listeners, but that's not going to impact you guys on YouTube because we have two interviews, guys, for our two Quick Kick Picks champions. So Matt, what's up?
You probably should wait until we start the podcast to say that.
No, I will. But in case anybody's watching on YouTube, we also have two interviews. They're separate videos, so make sure to go check them out. Matthew, what were you going to say?
I wasn't really going to say anything, but you want us to go really fast then? That's what you're saying.
No, I mean, we only do one a week. So
funny?
Yeah, just do your normal thing. Matthew, at the end of your section, you're gonna go to stadium scene, and then we're going to come back with the noob interview. And then after noob, we'll come back into Christian's section. Christian, after you, we're going to do Todd's interview, okay?
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, you meant to say after noob, but it's like you're trying to say afternoon and messing it up. Is what it sounded like. Okay.
Okay, all right. Good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to get to it. Tal, what's up? All right, drive safely and just listen to us. Keep your eyes on the road. All right.
Okay.
What's going on? And welcome to episode 137 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast, a podcast where three brothers talk about what's happening in American and European soccer. We are a part of the Big Heads Media Network. Go to Big Heads Media to check out awesome podcasting content. My name is Dave Knittel, the eldest Knittel brother. I am here with my two brothers, Christian and Matt. Christian, middle Knittel, hello, how are you?
Hello, David. I am doing quite all right. The weekend was nice. NFL is back. Penn State won for football, so football is fun. The international break happened, which was just a detriment to my soul, but we'll just keep moving past that. We'll touch on that later. And our grandmother had a stroke today, so that's not the best. But we gotta stay positive, and she's stable right now. So.
Yes. So shout out, my mom. We're all praying and thinking of you. So Matthew, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, David. Thank you for asking. Like Christian said, football was back, so that made international break more tolerable. As I now hate international break. I don't think I used to this much, and now I'm just like over the top with how bad it is. I think because USA sucks, and I hate Greg Berhalter.
All right, fair enough. And for those watching on YouTube, we've lost Matthew. This is just
here we
excellent
go
start
again.
to the podcast.
Well, we can hear him now, so that's all.
Yeah, we can hear him, so we'll go with it, guys. I am doing relatively well, and he's back. I'm doing relatively well outside of the mum news. Had a good weekend. Football's back. Fantasy is back, so I'm enjoying that. I still am not soul crushed by the international breaks, and I'm trying to look for positives with the US's performance. Not going to have too many, but we will talk about that in my section, and hopefully they can get things corrected for Uruguay on Tuesday, though I don't have a ton of high hopes. Christian, do you have our trivia question?
I do. So my trivia question is going to be about the comparison of Timo Pukki and Cristiano Ronaldo, something you hear a lot about, I'm sure.
Yep.
So
Years.
I'm going to ask you guys to provide me which person has had, I'm going to ask how many match winners have each of them had in between the start of last season and now.
Okay. All right, we'll think on that. And listeners, I apologize. I forgot to bring this up. This is going to be a very long episode. So people watching on YouTube, this is going to be regular length. But for podcast listeners, we are going to have 2 interviews sprinkled in here for our quick kick picks game. They're going to be after Matt's segment and then after Christian's segment. So I just wanted to give the forewarning here. We're only doing 1 episode a week now, so it's going to be a little bit longer, and you guys can hit pause if you would like. But just wanted to provide that little forewarning. So Matt,
you should just listen to it all the way through, though.
Yes, you should.
I mean, how can you stop once you start?
I know. Once you pop, the fun don't stop. Matthew, over to you for Matt's Megs. Pringles? Once you pop, the fun don't stop? No, Christian?
I just had like 3 cans of Pringles yesterday.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Matt's Megs. I'm glad you guys got to get your Pringle conversation out of the way, and I hope all the listeners are enjoying Pringles right now. All right, so this week we will talk about mainly Manchester City. We'll start with the women's game. I hope Dave and Christian prepared, with my topics that I definitely notified them about. So this weekend, Manchester United played at the Etihad. The women's team played at the Etihad. The Manchester City women's team, there was over 30,000 people in attendance. Manchester City won 1-0. It was the first Manchester derby between the two.
So wait,
Christian,
is your first question going to be why do more people come out to the women's game than the men's? Empty.
Dave, I'll start with
Let's
you.
go.
Dave, I'll start with you. So how big of numbers do you expect this game to be? Do you think it was big because it was the first time, or do you expect the game to keep growing kind of at this rate?
I would expect it to keep growing at this rate. I think that England has obviously a huge soccer culture. I think it also helps that the clubs over there are aligned between the men and the women. They have true clubs, and I think that really benefits. Over here in the U.S., I think our teams across all sports are not aligned. And so even though you have the Timbers and the Thorns who play in the exact same location, they have the same ownership group, they don't have the same name, and they're not aligned under the same brand. I honestly think clubs around the world will benefit, specifically on the women's side, from just being able to attach to men's brands, and I expect them to continue. Or I shouldn't say men's brands, but the men's brands are a little bit more well-known, and so the fact that they can just sort of be a part of that same club, I think that it'll really, really benefit them, and I only see it growing from here. I don't think this is just a blip.
Okay. Christian, what do you think about the women's game?
I think that it's going to continue to grow at this rate. I think it's really important that it does. And like Dave touched on, I think it's important to attach to clubs who have already established themselves on the world market. And that will just bring it to light. Seeing 30,000 people at a league game in England is huge. And I think that it's going to start to file in, and you'll see that across multiple countries. I know the women's game is pretty big in the US, but I don't think domestically it's as big as it is on the international stage. A lot of people tune in. Every game is sold out for the US women's national team, but I don't think that at the league level we're seeing that. I hope that it starts to grow, and England might be where it has to start, because England has built that culture. They have that just soccer in their blood, and it's really just awesome and inspiring to see it happening so quickly over there.
Yeah, so I think that it's really good that 30,000 plus are showing up for a league match, and being 2 clubs of that stature. I mean, it's good for the soccer world to kind of see that. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up 30,000 every time they play. I think they only played at the Etihad probably because it was the first one. It was a big match, and the men's team, they're on international break, so I think that just kind of worked out. I'm not sure how big the women's stadium is for Manchester City, but I don't expect it to be necessarily this big every time. I think the game is going to grow continuously, but I think 30,000 people was just a first time kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I also heard on the Totally Football Show, which is a different podcast based in the UK, that they said they're going to try to do a combination game. So the women play like right after the men in the same stadium. They were expressing concerns about that because, with people leaving, then you have, the women getting, 15, 20,000 people, which is a decent amount. But if they're in like a 60,000 seater stadium, it doesn't create that same atmosphere. So Matt, I'm with you on that one. I think they need to be very careful about having, playing in these massive stadiums and, quote, only having 20,000 people, but it looking, not great. Whereas if they played in a smaller venue and maybe they sacrificed a little bit of ticket sales, but you had a really raucous atmosphere of 10 or 15,000 seater stadium and got it, really, really raucous. I think that always benefits the product on the field and also on television. Yeah. Raucous.
Stop saying raucous.
Yeah, so Christian, do you think, or are you concerned with just like the size of the stadiums we're playing in, and do you think 30,000 is just a crazy number to keep up at this point in time?
Yeah, I think it's unfair to expect that many people to show up, but I hope that it does. I think that they should build smaller stadiums and just start at that level, let them fill out, let them have a waiting list for tickets, and then as that starts to just roll, you can get to bigger stadiums. They can start to play in the Etihad and stadiums like that. And even if it doesn't get that big, I mean, going from 10 to 20,000, that's a huge step anyway. That's bigger than a lot of stadiums we see in soccer in the US. And even in England, you have a lot of stadiums that are smaller than 20,000 people. And they're not selling out really every single game either. A lot of them are. And I think it just starts with having a smaller stadium, building that atmosphere, building the culture, building just the demand for it, and then going from there.
Do you think that they'll have like their own stadiums built? Or I know that a lot. I think I'm not sure where the City women's team plays. I don't know if they have their own. I think they play in the Academy Stadium. I might be wrong about that.
They do.
But do you think they should just play in the Academy Stadium, like most of the teams, or do you think they should have their stadiums built?
So I think it depends. Okay. Yeah. So I think it depends. Matt, I don't know if we're on a
He
delay.
might be a little delayed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that'll be fun the rest of this time. So I think it all depends. With regards to City and Liverpool and Manchester United, they probably have big academy stadiums where they have 5, 10, 15,000 seaters. For some of the smaller clubs, I'm trying to think of examples. I wish I knew the women's game better. I'm not sure which teams are even in the top flight, but some of the smaller clubs, like, I don't know, Watford or something like that, they may not have that big stadium, and their men's league team is probably 20 to 25,000. So in that case, I think it does make sense to build a smaller stadium. We were touching on a previous podcast about DC United, and they built their stadium for Loudoun United. It's called like a modular stadium. They built it in like 2 weeks, and it's just comes all prefabricated, and they just kind of put the pieces together, and it's, I think like 5,000 people. It may make sense to just start with that and then build up from there. So I think that's where it makes sense.
Are you worried about, just the money that would be going into those stadiums?
Is that for me or for Christian?
I am right now. Yeah,
you're pretty delayed. Okay. Well, no. So for the modular stadiums, they also are cheaper to build them that way, and so I think it makes sense to do that. So I don't think that the cost would be a huge burden for them. So I think that's something to really consider.
Christian.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense for them. Oh, well, yeah, I just don't think it makes any sense to add any stadiums right now. I think it's important to just bring the club together and either play at the same facilities that are already there or play in the stadium as they are doing in Manchester City. I think that is the first step. I don't think that they need to build their own stadiums right now, and just start to build around the team that they have, and eventually it will get to that point, but there's no point throwing money where money doesn't need to be spent right now, in my opinion.
But what would you rather have? Would you rather them play in the empty stadiums? Like, so say they get 5,000 and play.
But they could play at the reserve or the second team's stadium in a lot of these places. Like a lot of these big clubs have these types of
but
facilities.
not all clubs. A lot of the big clubs do, but not all of the clubs have them. So I'm talking about.
Yeah, like the smaller clubs, then yes, they should play it in, even though it's going to look empty, it won't be. There are people still coming.
All right, fair enough.
I just don't think it makes any sense to throw money at building a stadium when that could be used to really build the program, build up the salaries, and just do it that way.
Okay, fair enough. Matt is transitioning from where he was.
It's new Matt.
Okay. Anything else you guys would like to add?
I'm good.
No. Okay. Next topic we will discuss as I plug my Ethernet in, and I will be slightly delayed, so we'll see how this goes for the next about minute. But James Milner in Vincent Kompany at the Etihad, a bunch of ex-City players that played with Kompany are coming out to the match, and Man City fans are making a huge deal about current Liverpool player James Milner supposed to play, because for some reason he is the most hated person by City fans. We don't really have too many people to hate. For a little background, Dave is looking like he has no idea the entire backstory. So Milner, his last year at City, there was something where he ran his contract down, got a bonus from City, like a big bonus from City, and then still signed with Liverpool, like based on the date he signed. And everyone, all the City fans on Twitter and stuff like that, call him like a cash grabber and all this stuff. Me personally, Milner basically was a rotation player and never complained once on Man City for years and years. And then he went to a club where I assume he was going to play more. I have no problem with what he did. I understand he took some money from the club, but I mean, it was part of how his contract was set up. Christian, I'll start with you. Do you think there's going to be any problem with him being at Man City for the game? And do you think you have any issues with what he did?
I absolutely have no problems with him playing in this game. I don't have any problems with what he did in going to Liverpool either, because he was being played out of position when he was at Manchester City. He was mostly used on the right wing as a rotation player, not really as a true starter. I think at center mid, he's been much better because that is his true position. That's where he knows how to play. And yes, he's been used at left back at Liverpool, specifically in his first season or two. But that's just the type of player he is. He's happy to do that, but he knew Klopp told him, and I think he came in under Klopp. I'm not 100% sure if he came under Rodgers now thinking back, but I'm pretty sure he signed after Klopp's first half season. Klopp told him, I will be playing you at center mid, similar to the way he did with Oxlade-Chamberlain. And I think that is really important to just to James Milner, and I don't have any problem with him leaving Man City. I don't know why City have a problem with him leaving if he was just a backup player either.
Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I have no problems with this. Honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing Man City fans even had a problem with James Milner. I didn't even know that. I didn't know about the contract situation. And I mean, players got to look out for themselves, and I find it really odd that they're faulting him in this scenario. And then on top of it, I think it is slightly odd that he's coming back and playing in the testimonial, just being in mid-season, risking potential injury and stuff like that. I know a lot of times these testimonials happen either outside of the season or with players that are retired. So it is just slightly odd from that perspective. But thinking back, I know Bastian Schweinsteiger had one, I think last year, and the Chicago Fire players flew over and the Bayern players, active players played in it. So I guess it's not that out of the ordinary. It strikes me as slightly odd, but not really.
Yeah, Steven Gerrard also had his, and I think Torres, Suarez, all of them were in midseason with their teams in La Liga, and they played in that game. So okay. I don't think it's that. Yeah, I don't think it's that obscure.
Do we know of any players that have ever gotten injured in a testimonial game?
I'm sure it's happened, but I can't think of any.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was just curious if we know.
And we're happy to have Matt back in live. So, Matt, thank you for doing that. We're good. He's okay.
I can't believe it worked. Anything else you guys want to add on this?
No, I'm good.
Nope.
Well, I think that's going to wrap up Matt's Megs. Well, thank you for joining
What about
me.
Liverpool?
Dave. James Milner, the Liverpool legend, as Dave just pulls a Christian here.
I went to go give a very enthusiastic thumbs up, and I forgot I have wires here, and so I knocked some stuff out. So my apologies there, Matt, as you were doing your outro.
Thanks for joining me, everybody. Listen to a little bit of music and listen to our interview with a soccer noob coming up.
Yeah, sorry about that. I tried to do a very enthusiastic thumbs up, and I just ripped my
You're out of
cord
control.
out.
And then you just started doing just touch the mic.
Yeah, my bad.
I don't know if mine was making a noise as I was just rubbing.
You
Yes,
were.
you were.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Okay. Good job, Matt. You guys want to do the stadium?
Check out our friends over at Stadium Scene if you're going to any stadium in the US or Canada for any sport. They have information like where to park near the stadium, what events are happening in the area, what bars and restaurants to go to, and what best to do in the stadium. So check that out. Matt, tell them about what else they have on Stadium Scene.
Well, they also partner with content creators like ourselves and offer you things like podcasts, what we're doing right now, blog posts, YouTube videos, just great content. And it's not just soccer, all sports, North America. So again, check them out, stadiumscene.tv.
All right, good stuff. People will be hearing. What are you flying? You little fairy?
Is it an eagle? I don't know.
Eagle. Is that an elephant behind you, Matthew?
No, it's 4 elephants.
It is 4 elephants.
Why do you have 4 elephants behind you?
What is
Audrey likes elephants, okay?
Oh, so Matt didn't know about our owl thing. I think we need to discuss that at a different time, but that needs to be discussed.
Yeah, Matt, are you not on any of the owls? Are absolutely hilarious creatures.
Who?
Good.
See, he gets it. He gets it. All right.
So is that a bunch of waterfalls too? Is that what's happening behind you?
What?
Directly behind him. What's behind him?
Oh,
Not
these
you.
are actually really cool.
Those are your pictures from your travels, right?
From my travels in Europe. So,
Yeah.
you
The
can't really
waterfalls.
see 'em. And I have a lot of wires plugged in.
Okay, let's not. Yeah, we can do this after the podcast. How about
This is a
that?
better place to be though for the podcast. I like your background better.
Yeah. And also, the angle is better, so we're
Yeah.
not like getting like an up your nose shot, and we can actually see you. So that's good. Christian, you're going to be welcoming back people from Soccer Noob. Okay.
Okay.
Where you actually won again. So fuck, we forgot to like explain what the interview was. Well, whatever.
Well, you can.
Hey everybody.
Well, you can do an intro to it right now, Dave. Right?
Or you guys can, right?
I'm gonna just welcome people back and explain what just happened.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome to Christian's Corner. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Noob, who just won our Quick Kick Pick soccer game. If you don't know what that is, definitely check out Quick Kick Picks. We're over on Twitter, on the Bros Talking Soccer Twitter at BT Soccer Pod, and we're also on YouTube with that. So definitely check us out. It's a game where we predict the scores for MLS and the Premier League, and if you win at the end of the month, you get to come on our podcast for a 15-minute interview, which you just heard Noob, who actually finished second. All right, so that is so I won if you didn't get that from my laugh. All right, so we're gonna jump right into my topics here, and I'm gonna start with one Leonel Messi. I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy before, but he's pretty good at soccer. Matt, I'll go to you first here with my topic, which is going to be his contract. He is now 32, which triggered a clause in his contract allowing him to leave at the end of any of his seasons. Like in June of any season, he is allowed to leave without any payment or anything. It's up to his discretion. Do you think that's crazy for Barcelona to put that contract in, or do you think he's actually deserved that right?
Well, he's deserved that right. I know in the media this week, the only thing I've really seen is that they're trying to get him on a lifetime contract, and they're like offering that to him. It is up to him, and I think he has earned that right. He's done a lot for the club, brought them many, many trophies. And I mean, I'm sure they did a lot for him as, coming through the youth academy and things like that. So he's been been part of Barcelona for, a majority of his life now. I think it would be weird for him to leave, but I think it's up to him.
All right. And if you're not watching on YouTube, definitely check it out. You can see Dave showing off his one trophy in the background. So, Dave, what do you think about Messi's contract?
Yeah. So before we get into that, just listeners of the podcast, you're missing out on tons of amazing content because while each of us is speaking, pretty much the other two are doing something to distract them or all that. So that's why. So check out our YouTube. All right. So getting back to the Messi conversation, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a business. As much as he has brought Barcelona trophies and all of that, I mean, he's been compensated, and I think he's earned the right, so to speak, to I guess walk away. But this does strike me as really, really odd from Barcelona to have that in there. I don't know why it's really in there, to be honest. I mean, I guess he wouldn't have signed it without that, but it still just really strikes me as odd for someone who has played there his entire professional career. I mean, if he wants another opportunity, then he should just run down his contract. It strikes me as odd that it's sort of like a not unilateral. What is it? One way of being able to just terminate the contract and move on, which I guess is unilateral, right?
Yes.
All right. So it strikes me as odd here. So it's very weird for me.
It's definitely odd, but I think that he has earned that right. And although it is a business, it is pretty much like a 1-year deal that they're offering him every single year until he wants to stop. So I think that they can prepare for that. He'll probably tell them in advance. I don't think June's going to come up and he's going to be like, okay, guys, bye. I think he's probably going to tell them at least in January at the latest if it's his last season. I assume he would probably tell them a season in advance. And I think he has earned that right. I think he has made that club absolutely. And yes, they were already immense before him, but he has taken them to a new level in the past 10 years, 15 years, whatever it's been, probably 15 years at this point. He has probably been the best player on the planet. And it's incredibly amazing to watch him play. I hope he does come to the Philadelphia Union. For all the people who are commenting on YouTube right now, they're saying he's coming to MLS. Union only, in my opinion. But he has earned this right. Absolutely. Anything else you want to say about this topic?
I don't know if he has earned this right. I just want to say that. So I don't agree with the earning the right. At the end of the day, it's a business transaction. When he loses his usefulness, he will most likely be discarded by Barcelona. So I don't know if it's necessarily that he's earned this right, but I think it's good for him. I think this is smart. So that's where I stand. Matthew.
Well, I also don't think that he needs to give Barcelona time to, prepare for life without him. I think they've been trying to do that for the last couple of years now, and I think they realized, especially this year without Messi being injured, they're not very good without him. They need something. They need another huge player. I think that's why it seemed like they were pretty desperate to get Neymar. But I think they know after Messi they're going to hit a lull, and that's why they're trying to hit him with this lifetime contract. But at 32, I mean, an injury can happen to him at this age, and it would be normal. I know he's been pretty healthy his entire career. A couple injuries here and there, but he's been relatively healthy, and I think they need to. They know they have to prepare without him, Dave.
Yeah. So for Barcelona, Christian, this contract, I don't fully understand it. So does he have like a 5-year contract, but at the end of it,
Correct.
He can always walk away, but Barcelona can't terminate, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's not like a 1-year contract's renewing. It is.
No.
All right. That makes sense.
He has a 5-year deal, but at the end of every season, he has the right to leave. All right. Understood?
Yes.
All right. I just want to throw out there that Sal, you and I are going to fight at some point if you keep commenting. All right. So anyone else have anything on this Messi comment? No? Good?
Well,
right,
I understand what Sal's comment was. I was reading it for about a solid 2 minutes there. Matt has light, and then he celebrates saying, "Woo!" Because I'm usually in the dark.
Yes.
I was like, "What is a light? What's a light?
What's
woo?
A light woo?" All right, so we're gonna move on to our next topic. This is pretty bad. I'm just gonna say that right now. So Albania was playing France in France this week. France ended up winning this game 4-1, but Albania refused to play at this kickoff because during the national anthems, the Andorra anthem was played, and everyone just looked really confused, as you would if your national anthem is not being played. And then after that, the PA announcer apologizes to the Armenia fans. Those are just 3 different A countries in Europe. that they just messed up all of it. Like, what on earth? Dave, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on this whole situation?
So I didn't know anything about it till I read this probably an hour ago, and I just was laughing hysterically. Obviously, it is offensive to the Albanians, but I mean, this story on the surface is like somewhat harmless, and it's kind of funny, right? Like they just got a bunch of A countries mixed up, like you just said, and so they played the wrong anthem, which we've seen before. But then the PA announcer getting on the horn and saying the wrong country name on top of it, which wasn't even the country name of the anthem that they played. So it's just like so many incorrect things happening here. It's just a giant calamity, and it kind of it's funny to me. It's funny to me.
And so France is playing Andorra next, so I guess that's probably where the confusion began, but that's still just something. It is definitely offensive. It is funny from an outside perspective. Yes, it is offensive, but there are so many like I understand where the confusion can arise from.
Yeah,
Matt, what do you think? I'm not talking to you anymore.
No,
Matt, what do you
just
think?
Well, okay. I got a little confused with all the A's. We're talking about Albania, right?
Yes.
All right. One of those A's. But so I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think they made it out to be a little bit bigger of a deal than it probably should have been. It is a little bit disrespectful, but I mean, get over it. And Dave, I'll just let you talk. You want to talk so bad.
No. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I saw on Twitter, somebody posted it. I think it was a couple of years ago. I don't know how this happened. I think it was Malta. They were supposed to play their national anthem. It was some country. And they played Linkin Park's Numb. Like the first few seconds of it. And I saw it on Twitter today and I started dying.
That is very funny, yeah. All right, Dave, what do you want to add?
Funny enough, on that topic, I just downloaded the Jay-Z Linkin Park mashup album on iTunes literally yesterday. So I just downloaded that. Highly recommend.
What's it called?
I can't
Collision
remember.
Course.
What's it called?
Collision Course.
Collision Course. Yes. I had it back when I was in like middle school or high school on like regular CD, but whatever. Anyways, we're not talking about Linkin Park. What I wanted to say before is like if the US was playing someone and they played like the United Kingdom anthem and then they said we apologize to the United Arab Emirates, like I wouldn't take offense. Like I would find all of that very, very funny. So for me, I guess I can understand why Albania was upset, but for me, I just would have found it hilarious that they got it all wrong.
Yeah, and I kind of agree. Yes, I can understand why people would be upset in this situation. But like if I was on the field, obviously in my U.S. national career, if I was on the field and they played the English national anthem, I would just be dying laughing on the sideline that they messed it up that badly. Like that is just so ridiculous. And how are they not prepared? It is absolutely, like, in my opinion, it's unacceptable from France's perspective to mess it up that badly. Like, I don't think that they're going to be punished, and I really don't think that they should be punished too heavily if there is anything. But that is just, slap.
Is that
on
a
the wrist.
possibility that they're going to be punished?
I haven't seen that at all, but I'm just starting rumors.
It's wild speculation.
Anything else you want to add on this topic, either of you?
I mean,
No.
the Linkin Park thing is more understandable because like they probably just hit the wrong button. This one, they got just like the complete wrong anthem and then said the wrong country. So the Linkin Park one, though,
and it's
probably
not even
funnier.
like they said the wrong country, which was the anthem they played.
Oh,
They
exactly.
said another wrong thing.
It's another A country. Yeah. So overall, I would say this is more egregious than the Linkin Park one, where it seems like they just hit the wrong button. But all of them are funny to me.
Yeah, definitely. Can I ask you to do me a favor, David, and move off of the cell that you're on in the Google Doc so that I can read? All right, so we're going to move over to my last topic here, which is the FIFA ratings have come out for the top 100 players. So we're going to kind of go around, like not just talk about FIFA in general, the FIFA video game, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. They have ranked, I'm going to go over the top 10 players here, and I want to get your opinions on who is overrated, who is missing and is underrated. Dave is choking himself with his wires. I don't know what the hell
I was
he's
trying to
doing
go
over
around.
there.
I was trying to spin around. That didn't work out the way I envisioned.
So I'm just going to read through the top 10 here. We got Messi as a 94 overall. We've got Ronaldo at a 93, Neymar at a 92, Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne at 91. Oblak also at 91. I forgot about that one. And then we've got Salah, Modric, Virgil van Dijk, and Ter Stegen at 90s. Matt, I'll start with you because you're more of a FIFA player than Dave is. And also, it's your turn. So do you think that these 10 players are the 10 best players in the world, or who do you think is missing and should not be there?
Well, just off the top of my head, Modric, I don't know what he necessarily did over the last season to deserve a 90. I know he's the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, which I completely forgot about. I know Real Madrid struggled last year, and I don't think he's necessarily their best player anymore. Well, I guess Hazard now is a 91, but I don't really see him being that good anymore. Not a top 10 player. A player that's left off, I don't know. For me, maybe Bernardo Silva. I don't know. Just one.
Okay, that makes sense. Dave, what do you think about this top 10? Who do you think should be coming in and out?
Well, so I think Mane could arguably be in here. I mean, he's kind of produced at almost the same level as Salah over the last year or so. After Salah's miraculous season, what was it, 2 years ago? I think Mane could have a decent shout here. I'm with Matt on Bernardo Silva. I think he's just absolutely fantastic. So he's a shout here. I also think Ronaldo could probably be dropped down. I think a 93 is probably a little bit too high for him at this point. I know he's a ridiculous finisher, but the rest of his game, is starting to drop off a little bit, in my opinion. So I think he could probably drop down, and you could probably move a couple of these other guys higher. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, also, I don't know. I was thinking Alisson might be in here, but Ter Stegen's really good as well. But yeah, or Ederson could be in here as well. But
Alisson's an 89, Ederson's an 88.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So yeah, I didn't know that. So yeah, that's what's Mane then?
88.
88. Okay. So yeah, I think you'll probably move Mane up to top 10 though.
All right, so I'm going to take over here and I'm going to rant for a little bit, everybody. So I hope everybody's ready for this. Strap in. It's going to be fun. All right, Ronaldo definitely rated too highly. I think, okay, everybody's leaving. That's hilarious. All right, so I think that Ronaldo definitely should be max 92. I think he's probably more like a 91 at this point. He is a true striker. He's obviously still very, very talented, but he is not the player that he once was, and it's very clear when you watch him play. Neymar has been injured for like 3 straight years now. What the hell is he doing up there? At this point, he should easily be in the 80s, probably like an 88 overall. Obviously he's a very, very good talent, but he has no business. I don't even think he's in the top 10 players in the world right now, just because we don't know. We haven't seen him play really consistently at the top level for long enough. After that, Modric, my lord. I know he is the Ballon d'Or right now. No, he should not even be above like an 86 in my opinion right now. He has been very, very subpar in the past season, and it's just unacceptable to me that they'd put him that highly in there. The players I would put in, definitely Bernardo Silva. I agree with Matt. He should definitely be in that top 10. I would definitely say that Firmino is a better player than Salah and Mane. I know he doesn't put up the same stats as they do. He is a better player overall. He deserves to be given the credit for that. He's not a type of player that I think EA is looking at to be a star, but he is. He is the most important player outside of Virgil van Dijk on that Liverpool team.
But his attributes. So I agree he's important, but his attributes, he does a lot of things well, but he's not, I don't know if he does anything exceptional that is going to get him the ratings up there. So I agree Firmino is fantastic, but I just don't think you can rate him that high. The way video games. Okay. Sorry.
That's fine. But yeah, I would also put Alisson over Ter Stegen right now. I think Ter Stegen is an absolutely brilliant goalkeeper, but between the two right now, I think Alisson and Oblak are the top 2 goalkeepers in the world, and it's pretty clear. Oblak being the best, I think, is true. Atletico's goalkeeper is absolutely brilliant in the net. That's really all I think I have here, and I agree that Mane is probably correctly at an 88 right now. Matthew, please go ahead.
All right. I forgot. I would probably put Mbappe in the top 10 over Modric.
He's an 89. Yeah, he is an 89 right now.
But he's definitely a top 10 player. And I'll just go ahead and disagree with that whole Neymar spiel not being a top 10 player, as he's clearly PSG's probably still the best player.
Yeah, but we can't prove that. Like, you haven't seen him consistently play.
I mean, De Bruyne's a 91, and he didn't even play last year. He had 2 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah, but we've seen him this year be dominant, and we saw what he did before, and he was only out for 1 year. Neymar has been out multiple years with serious injuries. It's hard to tell what he really is as a player.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, that's fine. Dave, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I was going to say Mbappe deserved to be in the top 10, but Matt beat me to it. So that's why I was throwing a hissy fit before. Christian, I would probably skew more towards Christian's side with Neymar. We haven't seen him at his best in a few years, so I would drop him down a little bit. I think he's still probably top 10, but I just think he's a little bit high. Also, just side note, I don't like how you put these numbers are confusing. So you put the number first and then you put the players.
Oh,
that confused the hell out of me. Okay, so Neymar's a 92?
He is a 92.
Okay. Yeah, I think you could drop him down to maybe like a 90. Just, again, I think avoiding injuries is a big part of a soccer player's career. So that's where I'd say that.
All right, Matt, you want to rebuttal there? You look like you do.
This is a stupid argument.
Injuries ruin a player's career, and we've seen it over and over again. I don't know why you think that's crazy.
Yeah, but there's literally a setting in the game where it's like a trait where you're injury prone. I mean, yeah, it could happen. But when he plays, his attributes are easily top 5 in the world. And Dave wants to talk about attributes. I mean,
but you don't know that anymore. We haven't seen him.
Yeah, you do. What do you mean? Yes, we do.
I don't know what his quickness. Matt Christian's point is like, what is his
you're
quickness?
saying that Fernando Torres was the best striker in the world. He got injured and he never recovered. He was the best striker in the world at the time.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. We are.
It always comes back to Liverpool.
Yeah. Neymar is great. I don't know.
You could see Sané is arguably the best winger in the league, and he gets injured, and you could see that he'll never come back. Like, it could happen. I'm not saying
he has the exact same rating as last year. Why aren't we mad about that?
Because he played all of last year.
Yeah, but you're saying.
So
I mean, they know he's hurt now. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he wasn't out a full. Like, you could see it next year, maybe that he'll drop maybe 1 or 2 spots.
Yeah, I think what Christian's saying, we haven't seen Neymar in a while. And so these ratings are based off of, how he was like quickness wise and acceleration and all of those stats, pre-injury. Does he still have that same breakaway pace? I think technically on the ball, yeah, his skills are out of this world. But some of those other things I think is what I skew more towards Christian's point. I'm not saying he should be out of the top 10, Matt, or anything like that. You're acting like we're saying he should be like an 83 and not even be mentioned. We're saying he should drop down a little bit because we don't know if he is still at this level.
Yep. All right. Well, Matt's flipping us off. So I guess that'll wrap up Christian's Corner. I hope everybody had a good time. Let us know what you think about those things because it's very interesting to us to hear. Because EA is just a machine that doesn't really know that much about soccer. So that is a thing. We are going to move on. You see, Sal's comment sums it up perfectly. It's just FIFA. They don't really know what they're doing. I added that last part, but that is what he meant. All right. Thanks for stopping by Christian's Corner. I hope you had a good time. And we're going to go to a little musical break. And then you're going to hear, I don't know if it's an interview, but I'm pretty sure it is. And then we'll be back with Dave's Domestic Dive.
Good job, Matt. Way to be on top of things.
Todd.
But yes, Christian, you were right as well. Okay, so they're going to hear Big Heads Media, and then we'll jump into it.
Why is the carpet wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot. That's a Christmas vacation shout out. All right, I am so hungry. If you guys hear my stomach growling, just let me know. All right.
I hear it.
Oh, sensitive as you like.
What's that?
Oh, wait.
Oh,
no way.
God.
Did you just hear that?
No way. No way.
Is there a pigeon?
Huh?
Wait, that sounded like a fucking
That was my
coo.
stomach.
It sounded like
I told you I'm really freaking hungry. All right, let's welcome back, everyone, from that lovely interview with Todd. Let's talk about MLS before we kind of take a downturn and talk about the U.S. men's national team. So, according to the Sacramento Bee, which is the newspaper out in Sacramento, Sacramento is joining MLS in 2022. Sacramento Republic is currently in the USL. They've been drawing pretty decent crowds. I actually caught a match. I think it was probably 3 or 4 years ago at this point. I was pretty impressed with them. Matthew, what do you think about Sacramento joining the league? Are you excited about them joining? Do you think they've earned it?
Yeah. For me, how many California teams are there right now?
Right now there's 3, so this would be 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a little bit frustrating that California gets all those teams, but there are a lot of people in California. I'm surprised actually the Bay Area. I mean, I guess San Jose would be the whole Bay Area, and the Sharks. So it's good they only have 2 sports teams. What
The Bay Area?
Well, no, I'm saying San Jose, not the Bay Area.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, you California people are so particular about
hoity-toity, as
What?
some might call them.
Like
What?
Dave,
All I was
every
trying to
time-
do was clarify.
Every time I say Dave's moving to LA, we're moving to Orange County, actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we're moving to Orange County.
What?
It's
Like
the
if
same
I
thing.
said, Matt, you were moving to Dallas, what would you say?
That's not
That's
the
not
same
the
thing.
same.
Okay, if
God,
I said you're moving to
so-
Galveston or something like that, I don't
Fort Worth.
know.
No, that's actually
like if you're in Fort Worth
Yeah.
and you're moving to Dallas, okay, I understand. Like that's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Well, or if you were moving to Galveston and I said you were moving to Houston, would you correct people?
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I think Sacramento may deserve a team.
All right, excellent transition out of that. Christian, what do you think about Sacramento joining the league?
All right. So, did you actually say they officially are joining the league, or
So they're in the
sorry.
final stages. So according to the
Okay.
newspaper, they're like 95% done.
Okay. I think that there are a lot of teams in California already, and I'm not really sure what the plan is there because I feel like there's markets all over the U.S. that could still use teams. But I really don't have a problem with Sacramento getting one. I think there's a huge populated city there that could be really good for the league. So it'll be interesting to see. It adds another, I guess, rivalry in there. I guess they'll be with San Jose. That's my guess. Is that rivalry will build, and then the LA teams will become the main rivalry instead of the Galaxy versus San Jose, which I think has been a huge rivalry, or it's dying off a little bit more now. No,
There's still. I mean, because you can
California
have
Classico, right?
exactly the Cali Classico. I mean, you can have multiple rivals, right? I mean, Liverpool with. I mean, it seems like the city rivalry is building, and then with Everton and Manchester United, like I think you can have multiple rivals. So I would expect Sacramento to be in there. Matt,
Yeah,
do
I
you?
guess the Union have DC and Red Bulls is probably who
Yeah,
we
we're
consider.
probably second fiddle in both those rivalries, which is frustrating. Matt, you had something else to say before I asked you a question?
Maybe. So, I don't know. I was a little thrown off by Christian's. Oh yeah. So do you have a problem with having multiple rivalries? Do you want teams to just have one, or do you think that just limits it?
No, I have no problems with multiple rivals. Christian?
I think it does limit it to some capacity, but I don't think you can really help when your rivalry is building. I think those just happen over time, and specifically between the fans it starts, and then it starts to feel it like on the atmosphere in stadiums, and then the players start to feel it too.
Yeah, I would say probably 3, maybe 4 max. Like if you have like 6 or 7 rivals, I think that it gets to be too much. But I
Then
think
you get to beat Chelsea.
Yeah, I think 3 would be the max. Matt, what about you? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking because for me, I mean, in Philadelphia, I mean, some of our sports teams, but soccer-wise, the Union don't really have a rival. And then when we went to college, Penn State doesn't really have a rival
I
either.
know.
Which is, I mean, they have them, but we're not anyone's biggest rival. So for me,
Oh, we are
I
with
mean-
like Pitt and Temple.
But it's not reciprocated.
We
For
didn't play
those two,
Pitt.
it is.
But it's
we
not.
didn't play Pitt for like 60 years.
Yeah, it's not reciprocated by Penn State.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so it's the same concept. So
I guess
whereas
it's the
Penn State with
opposite.
Ohio State and Michigan, but Michigan and Ohio State, they're their rivals. I think that's what Matt's trying to say.
Got it.
Yeah, now Maryland's like trying to be our rival, but everyone in Pennsylvania is like,
And
why do you
Rutgers.
care about Maryland? Yeah, so I don't know. So for me, just having one rival is easier, and I would like it like geographically, like in town, like the North California rivalry makes sense for San Jose and Sacramento. So I like that. But when you have like too many rivals, like are you gonna say every California team's a rival when there's so many?
No, I don't think so. But the LA San Jose rivalry is because they both came into the league in 96 and they had a lot of competitive matches and like ridiculous matches. So that rivalry was built. It wasn't exactly manufactured. The LA rivalry or El Tráfico is just because of proximity and because of both teams sort of having star power, that sort of developed. And so I don't think you can manufacture. I think you can try. But really what Christian was saying is it has to build over years and it has to be amongst the fan base. It's like what just happened with the Union and Atlanta United. I mean, if they can have more games like that, and the fan bases were really going at each other online. I mean, if you have more things like that, I mean, maybe it builds, and so can grow from there. Getting back to Sacramento, though.
If that's the case, everyone's going to be a rival with Philadelphia.
Yeah, fair enough. Getting back to Sacramento, Matt, what's up? Do you have something to say?
Yeah, I was like, let's just have this entire topic about Sacramento and just not talk about the actual.
Let's avoid the U.S. national team.
Hey, Dave, good topic.
Do they get any benefit of performing well in the USL, Matt? Does that give them any sort of confidence from you that this is the right market for MLS to go into? Do you put any stock into that? Not
really, because they're just so different. It's so hard to draw fans to USL. And it's just completely different once you go to MLS. So I wouldn't put too much. And, the style of play is going to be different. I'm sure there's going to be completely different players. If you get a big name right away, I think people are going to be more interested. So I think that's more important, and just kind of being good right away to just build that fan base.
Interesting. Christian? Thoughts on that?
Well, FC Cincinnati played well, had a big fan base, and look what happened to them. So I am not going to put any stock into how well they're doing in the USL. It's a completely big step up, and it's a different game altogether.
But I think as a brand, I think that they've proven that they can do well in the lower divisions, and they've kind of almost earned that right. And so, at least from that perspective,
like Messi in his contract, right?
Yeah, at least with Cincinnati, though, I mean, it's not like everybody's abandoning ship. Like, they're still drawing to the game. So I think that is a benefit, and you sort of build in that sort of floor, right? Where if you're starting a brand from absolutely nothing, you have a much lower floor. So that's what I'll say on that front. Guys, anything else on this before we get to the topic that we're all super excited about?
Yeah, we got to go. I'm so busy.
I agree with Sal. Phoenix should be in MLS.
Yes, good comment, Sal. And I think I think that they eventually get in, but MLS really needs to figure out what the hell they're doing, and they need to cap the league. I don't think they can go more than 32. I really don't even want them to go to 32, but I think they're going to that, and we'll see what happens from there. All right, switching gears over to the U.S. men's national team versus Mexico. Super exciting topic, and we have a new segment called Drunken Words, Our Sober Thoughts. Matthew had a few drinks on Friday and was firing off some amazing tweets. So let's start with this first one, Matt, here.
Not
tweets. God, I keep saying tweets. Messages, whatever the hell they're called. When
wait, are we quoting me?
Oh yeah.
He's gonna read your text. They're written down.
He sucks, and he doesn't care about America's success, specifically talking about Berhalter. Matt, care to elaborate on that one? Do you actually believe that?
Did we write this down in the Google Doc?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I wish I read this. This is my first time ever hearing this.
Well, you said it, so no, that's not true.
So clearly you have issues with Berhalter, and so what are your problems with Berhalter?
I just don't think he picks the right players. He doesn't go after. It doesn't seem like he talks to the players, as we've seen with Nagby, and there's been players saying they haven't, like the dual citizenship players that he hasn't reached out to them. And it seems like players don't really like playing for him. He's playing people like Pulisic came out in the media and said yesterday that are scared of Mexico, and you can't I think it comes from the coach. He's not inspiring them to be better than the best team in CONCACAF. And once you step on the field, you should think you're the best team. I don't care who you are. If you're playing for America, that's the mindset the coach needs to put into these players' head, and Pulisic's the only player on our team that has it.
That's a fair argument, Christian.
I agree with all of Matt's drunken thoughts. I think that they are magnificent, and
he hates America.
this one specifically, Berhalter is not the answer. I think that Klinsmann did a better job and got way more criticism for it. And there has to be a better answer right now. I don't think tactically he has the answers, and the team selection has just not been right. Mexico, yes, they're a better team than us right now. I will admit that, but they are not that much better that it showed as dominant as it did on Friday night.
They didn't even play their real squad.
Okay. So I'm going to agree or disagree on a lot of things here. So Klinsmann tactically was an absolute mess, and his player selection was not great. I also think our player pool right now is weaker than when Klinsmann took over. I think we have a lot of up-and-comers, but the players kind of in their prime are really, really soft and not good enough for international level quality. My biggest criticism of Berhalter at this point is, I hate to harp on, but Trapp and Zardes should not be on the national team. They are just, we say it every time, and I don't like doing it, but Zardes is not good enough internationally. And Will Trapp, just at this level, playing against Mexico, yeah, he might be okay in a CONCACAF game where we're dominating possession, but he's just not good enough. He's not athletic enough. They should have started Morales along with Leggett and McKennie, probably out of their. I would have liked to see Pamical in for Leggett, but Morales should have started at the number 6 position. Thought that's what it should have happened. And Matthew, your point about him not communicating, he is communicating with the dual nationals. It's not his job. He came out and said that, Berhalter I'm talking about, he came out and said that it's not his job to communicate with like 15, 16-year-olds who are on youth teams and considering dual nationals. He communicates with the national team pool. He came out and has had communications with Sergino Dest, and that's why Dest was playing. And so I do think he is better in a lot of ways. And he's less than a year, I believe, into his tenure. And I think he's trying to do things, and it's not going to happen overnight. He's trying to change the culture, and he's trying to change the way we play tactically. And we're just simply not good enough on a player pool. Matthew.
Did you see the quote? I didn't verify it, but didn't Dest say he's Dutch by heart, and if they called, he would play for them?
No. So he said he's keeping his options open. And so he was called into the U23 Dutch camp for this, but the U.S. called him in as well. And so he is still not cap tied. He's played for the national team. And if he wants to play for the Dutch national team, he needs to file a one-time switch. And he can do that. But if he plays in the CONCACAF Nations League games, which are in October, then he will be locked in. So, there is still that battle going on. He said he feels both Dutch and American. And so it's still up in the air, but no, he didn't say that like he's only going to play for the Netherlands. All right. Next comment here from Matthew. We can't be elite until we start diving. Christian, let's start with you on that one. Do you agree with that?
So when I said I agree with all of Matt's thoughts, I wanted to backtrack on that a little bit here. No, I don't agree with that.
Okay, Matthew, do you actually
1,000% agree with that?
Okay, can you elaborate on why?
Because one, I'd say the refs is just like, if we're not rolling around and flopping, like players aren't going to get booked. There are so many challenges that happen in U.S. like international games where the other team should be booked, but we don't dive, so nobody gets booked. And it's so clear and obvious. And a yellow card just affects that player. If it's a holding mid, they can't make a 50-50 challenge for the rest of the game if it happens early on. And I think us, I forget who it was, who got a yellow card, the center back, when he didn't even, Pulisic fouled somebody. They got
Aaron Long.
Yeah,
Aaron Long.
Aaron Long got a yellow card. Gets a yellow card because I think it was Chicharito's rolling around and nobody even touched him. And it's just things like that where our center back now can't make tackles.
Yeah. So if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? That's your point?
Yeah. Tom Brady. Bill Belichick.
Okay. There you go. So, I mean, I understand the point, but I still think that you can be successful as a national team without playing those types of mind games. I know, I said Germany, Matt. I know you tried to counterpoint that, but there are national teams out there that don't necessarily, play with that gamesmanship sort of mentality, and they are still successful. So I'm going to disagree with you on that one. Anything else to add on this before we get to the next one?
I really just hate watching it, and it really does appear that anytime anyone goes flopping around, which was happening on Friday against us, the calls would go that way, and it does happen a lot. You see it time after time. It is very frustrating.
Yeah, I remember Joel Campbell for Costa Rica just walked by Matt Beasler, who was just standing there and this was off the ball and just flopped. And Beasler ended up getting a yellow card. I think he was ultimately suspended like the next game because of yellow card accumulation, and he couldn't, even though he didn't even touch him. So stuff like that is incredibly frustrating, and I don't want to see the U.S. succumb to that. So I understand your point, Matt, but I still think you can be successful without that type of stuff, even though it is frustrating. Something else to add? I see you smiling.
We should deflate the balls.
All right. Last drunken comment, at least the last one that I wrote down here. Okay, Boyd, speaking of Tyler Boyd here, maybe the worst player to ever wear the national team jersey. His 2 touches so far made me actually yell at my TV. So, Matt, now that you're sober and can think back on that, do you agree that Boyd is the worst player ever?
I'm trying to test the size of my room right now. I don't think Boyd could take a touch in here. Yeah, so I think I'm going to agree with this. I'm sorry. I don't. So the thing is, I try not to bash players unless they're on the U.S. men's national team, because that's the only thing I'm like actually crazy
And good no
passionate
on.
about. Oh, don't get me started. but yeah, I try my best not to bash players, but like if you're on the U.S. men's national team and you aren't even giving an effort to do something positive, or when you get the ball and you just mess up all the time, I'm just furious. I don't think Boyd could take a touch in my living room.
Yeah, no, I understand. I was very frustrated. And I was actually yelling at my TV sober with little things like that. Because at the national team level, like those little mistakes, like they make an impact. And so you take a touch and it bounces up over your head and eventually you settle it, but you've wasted almost a full second of just trying to get the ball under control. So I understand what you're saying. I do not agree that he is the worst player ever and think that he did have some positive moments. But Christian, did you have any thoughts on Boyd's performance here?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Tyler Boyd. I don't think he's an answer, and I think that we have a better talent pool to pull from than Tyler Boyd. I don't think he's the worst player that we've ever seen at the national level. We've seen Giassi Zardes many times, and that is just very clear to me that he is not a national player. I think that we just need to do better because it is painful to watch. I was at a game night on Friday, and I was like, hey, can we put the game on in the background? So I barely got through any games because I was very focused in on the TV, and I was screaming in front of all these people who half of which I didn't really know that well. So that is now my image that I have cast upon these new friends.
That sounds about right. So at the end of the day, what did it finish? I think it finished 4-0. What was the final score? 3-0?
3-0. And
okay.
We missed a penalty.
Yeah, so we missed the penalty, which was really odd. Pulisic gave up the penalty to Sargent. It was fantastic ball in by Leggett to Sargent. No, to who earned the penalty?
Wasn't it Sargent?
Sargent played it, or excuse me, Leggett played it in. It was Sargent.
Sargent won it.
Okay, Sargent won it, and then Pulisic ended up giving him the penalty, and he ended up missing it. On the positive side of things, I thought that the U.S. played really well for the first 20 minutes. I thought that they were committed to passing out of the back, and then Mexico made a couple tactical adjustments, and the U.S. just couldn't adapt to it. Mexico's press was so organized. It was really incredible to watch, whereas the U.S. pressed, but it wasn't nearly as organized. And so I do want to say that the U.S. at least tried on that front. And then at the end of the day, it was still 1-0 into the second half, correct, Christian?
Yeah.
So at the end of it, it's a friendly and they're trying to do things. The U.S. is trying to do things and they're trying to develop these different styles, and it's not going to change overnight. And so from that perspective, I admire them for trying to go for it and trying to change things up, but didn't end up working out. And I'm not going to write off the whole entire national team and Berhalter and everything that he's trying to build, because I think we do have a lot of players coming through at the youth level that I'm really excited to watch. Anything else to add on the game? I know you guys, Matt specifically, was not happy and probably doesn't want to talk about it more. Christian, anything else?
I feel like Matt thought you were like Pastor Welfare there. Every time you were almost done, he would have to put his earbuds down.
You're talking shit on our childhood minister on the podcast.
I didn't. No. He just would do that thing where he would lecture and you'd think he was done, and then he wouldn't be. And then it would go on for another 20 minutes.
So yes, you're talking shit on our
childhood. That's not talking shit. That's just a style of communication that I was just saying you were mimicking.
I wasn't done. I was trying. Matt was taking his headphones out because he didn't want to hear me talk about the game anymore. That's what he was doing. Matthew, anything else to add on?
I thought you kept being done, and then it wasn't.
I just really wasn't trying to listen to the game.
Exactly.
I have so much to add that I can't add right now.
All right, fair enough. So we'll move on. The U.S. is playing Uruguay tomorrow, which is when most likely people will be listening to this podcast. So hopefully they perform better. Most of the Euro players are going back, so I don't have a lot of hopes for that game. So we'll see what happens. Listener questions. We just have one thing we want to talk about, and surprise, it's drunken words, our sober thoughts from Matthew Knittel again. Continuing here, hottest of takes. Germany isn't even good anymore. Christian, do you agree with Matt's comment?
I agree that they are just not what they used to be. I wouldn't say they're not good. They're not the U.S. who are not good. But I think that they are not any type of European powerhouse right now. I think that they are in a transition phase where their experienced players are aging out a little bit and their young players just don't have any experience right now. We're going to see that transition again. They're going to be fine. I'm not worried about it at all. They have a lot of young talent on that team, but right now they do not look good, specifically because Löw has cut 3 of his experienced players who can be starters still.
Matt, thoughts on this? Do you still agree with it now that you're sober?
Yeah, I agree with it. I was really mad that the one guy, never even freaking heard of the guy, just scored a ridiculous volley to beat Northern Ireland. But, I mean, they were struggling to beat them earlier. I don't even know what the score finished. I checked in like the 80th minute. Scored a really nice goal. I don't know who the hell the guy was. But, no, I don't think they're that good. I don't think they're going to qualify for Euro.
Okay. All right. I don't.
They won 2-0.
Okay.
Yeah, some garbage time goal, probably.
The
garbage team.
Halstenberg scored the first one, who I've never heard of, and I'm sure that's who Matt is talking about.
Yeah, because Serge
Gnabry scored in extra time, 93rd minute.
Yeah, some garbage time goal.
Okay. So, I mean, all national teams go through cycles. Excuse me. I mean, the Netherlands had a downturn and they're coming back up. You can't be at the pinnacle forever.
Yeah,
Argentina's going through it.
And Netherlands wasn't that good, and now Argentina's not that good. I'm saying now, like they go through,
yeah. I don't know if not good. It's such a subjective term. They're not good compared to their ridiculously high level. Exactly. They're still a very good national team, but yeah, they're probably not at the pinnacle. And to a even lesser extent, the U.S. is in the same boat where the U.S. was maybe, I don't even know if they were good. They were like, okay.
Average.
Yeah, average, and now they're in a downturn, which is not very good. But those things can change very quickly if some young players hit and they really start to develop. So that's where I'm going to take some positives from all of this and root for the best, specifically circling back to the U.S. So that was Drunken Words or Sober Thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed that segment. Guys, anything else to add before we wrap things up here?
Nope.
All right. So Christian, you want to recap our trivia question?
Yeah. So between Timo Pukki and Cristiano Ronaldo, who has had more match-winning goals, and how many do you think each of them had since the start of the 2018-19 season?
So this was the start of last season.
Start of last season.
Okay.
So Dave, I'll go to you first to get your thoughts here.
Okay. I'm going to say 11 for Pukki or Pokey. How are we saying Pukki?
Timo Pukki.
Pokey sticks.
Pokey. Yeah, Pokey sticks. And I'm going to say Ronaldo has 7.
Okay. Matt, what do you think?
So last year, wait, we're talking just club or are we doing club and country?
It's everything, I believe.
Okay. So for club and country, I'm going to say 10 for Ronaldo, 13 for Pukki.
Pukki has 11, so good job to David. And Cristiano Ronaldo only has 8. Fun fact,
so
Pukki has 43 goals, Ronaldo has 32. Pukki also has 11 assists to Ronaldo's 10, which is a little surprising. I know he was in the second division last year,
all right, good.
But it's still, and in open play goals, Pukki has 41, Ronaldo only has 20, which is kind of a crazy stat. Open play goals are much more difficult to score, obviously. All right, so
last quick kick picks video, I did tip that Pukki was the best player in the world. So
you did that. I can confirm that did happen.
Majority credit for his goals.
So he should be at a 92, Neymar's level, right? Probably above
90,
above Neymar.
Like 96.
96.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. So going back to Christian's topic, so people are trying to do a petition for when the icon ratings came out.
Yeah.
Ricardo Kaká, his prime card,
91.
his highest overall is a 91. I was like, that's pretty low for how good he was at one point.
It's true. I think that is very, very true. That is way too low.
Agreed, especially for icon cards, which I kind of understand.
There's 3 of every icon. There's a prime version, a young version, and an old person version.
So his
the beginning of their career, they're old. The end of their career,
all right,
and then there's the prime.
Yeah, there's no way. So is it compared to so Messi's a 94? So
right now.
what was Messi's highest ever?
So
95?
Gerrard, I think, is also a 91.
Yeah.
Zidane is a 96. His is coming out this year. Maradona, I think, is a 98, and Pele is a 98.
Yeah, I think you'll probably
Ronaldo,
put Kaká
original
94.
Ronaldo's at 96.
93 or 94 probably is what he deserved.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ronaldinho is a 94 or 5, Matt. You know?
4.
Okay. All right. That's enough. Listeners.
yeah.
All right. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed listening to us ramble on, especially towards the end there. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a review on iTunes. 5 stars and a written review helps us out so much, and we would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Matt, what's our website?
Our website is www.brewstalkingsoccer.com. There you can read about all the great accomplishments we've had in our long lifetimes. You can find past episode links to our YouTube channel. There's also a store link where you can get sweet merchandise like Dave pulling his nipples over there, the shirt he's wearing. There's also an Amazon store link where you just click on that and it takes you to Amazon. You do your normal shopping. We just get a small percentage, just maybe one additional step to you. Really helps support the show. You can also buy us a shot, which is a way of supporting the show. If you're feeling generous, have a little bit of cash money to go around and you want to help pay for Dave's dinner, please, it would be greatly appreciated.
Or his shots.
Yeah, I'm very hungry, as the listeners will hear in the outtakes.
Yeah.
Christian, can you tell people about our Slack channel?
Yeah, join us over at Slack if you just want to communicate with Dave and I. Matt sometimes, but not really. He's never there. And then a bunch of other soccer community people where we have all these different channels, such as the top 5 European leagues, MLS, Liga MX, international soccer, bunch of topics. We got a general category where you could come and talk about anything you want. Trust me, people do. And if you want to get involved, tweet at us at BT Soccer Pod or email us at bros.talking.soccer. We'll get you involved in our little universe of communication.
Yeah, there you go. Universe of communication. Nice. All right. Last couple things. In addition to the podcast, I have a YouTube channel called The Soccer Tavern where I make videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. I am starting back up with those videos. I've been working with some smaller clubs in the US and the UK to do some club histories on them. So those will be coming out within the next week or two. Really excited to do that. And then I have Bundesliga and then newly promoted Premier League club history videos. Those will probably come out in November because I'm traveling basically the entire month of October. So look for them coming up. And then lastly, in addition to all of this, I have a fantasy soccer startup that I've been working on for a number of years. And if you or someone you know has a background in specifically iOS or really any mobile app development, please get in contact with me. And ideally, they're a soccer fan. And I would love to have a chat with them because I've been looking for someone. This has a lot of potential and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, I can't. So podcast listeners, apologies for the laughter there. Matt and Christian are doing ridiculous things on YouTube. But yeah, if you have any mobile app development skills, I would love to chat at BT Soccer Pod, send a tweet or send an email, bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Christian, any final words?
Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I hope you had a really, really good time. I think you should all tune in to the YouTube channel. If you're not already, you're getting a lot of extra content today.
Matthew, anything else you want to say?
Hey, thanks for having me on your podcast.
All right, listeners, we thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day. We'll be back with another podcast next weekend. Talk to you soon. Have a great one. See ya. Sal, thank you so much for joining us live and interacting with us. We always appreciate your comments here. And yeah, have a great day, man. And we'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Bye.
Oh, I'm hungry.